Welcome to the Adult Teacher Podcast. Are you a student looking for a career path that's both fulfilling and in high demand? Look no further than the building trades. From carpentry to plumbing, electrician to HVAC technician, the building trades offer a wide variety of careers that are essential to the construction industry and provide a stable and lucrative career path. This podcast is dedicated to exposing students to the many opportunities available in the building trades. We'll be speaking with professionals from the industry, exploring different career paths, and offering advice and guidance for those interested in pursuing a career in the building trades. Whether you're a middle school or high school student exploring your options, or a college student looking for a new direction, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the exciting world of building trades.
Hi, my name is Nicloy.
My name is Emelyn.
And welcome to the Adult Student Podcast. And today, who do we have?
Hey, my name is Tolton Pace, and I'm with the Home Depot Foundation.
Okay, Mr. Tolton. So today we're going to be asking you some questions.
And how did you hear about Mayfair?
That's a great question. So Mayfair is one of, I would say, over 250 schools that we as the Home Depot Foundation have a partnership with through HBI, which is also Home Builders Institute. So they are a national partner to help students get exposure and training in the skilled trades all across the country.
How did this partnership?
Yeah, amazing question. Thank you. So in some research that we did, we found out that there was a shortage of workers in the skilled trades industry. And so we said, we need to do something about that. How can we partner with a nonprofit organization to ensure that we help to fill all those empty jobs in the skilled trades industry? So HBI happened to be that partner that we developed that relationship with, and we decided to do some grant funding to help support students like yourselves and others all throughout middle schools and high schools across the country to get this training.
Can you tell us about your experience working in industry and academic partnerships and how it has prepared you for this role and how Home Builders into it?
Wow, you're hitting the hard questions. I love this. So I don't personally have experience in the skilled trades industry, short of watching an uncle or a family member build, repair things. However, I have worked in the academic space, so I've been in the elementary, middle, high school, and college level, both as a teacher and an administrator. And so for me, this is near and dear to my heart when the opportunity came about to not only bridge my education experience and my nonprofit experience with the purpose and the desire of Home Depot and HBI to do the work that we're doing. It was a perfect relationship, perfect win. So that's how I find myself here today.
And how do you approach building relationships and collaborations with industries and academic partners, and what strategies have you found to be effective in delivering these partnerships?
Excellent question, Mr. Jared. You are doing a phenomenal job. Let's give it up, Mr. Jared. Make sure before I answer that question. So we got Nicloy, and tell me your name again. Emily. All right, Nicloy and Emily. Give me the question one more time. I just want to give y'all some kudos before we jump into that.
Okay. How do you approach building relationships and collaborations with industries and academic partners? And what strategies have you found to be effective in developing these?
Yeah, wow, that's a really good question. So I would say research is certainly hugely important, right? Because you want to know, you can see different causes that you might have a passion for. You think there's, something we can go tackle or address an issue, but you want to make sure you do the research first, right? So as a company who develops these partnerships with nonprofits, we want to make sure we know what we're getting into first, right? We want to make sure we know where the need is. And so once we do that, develop the research, get the numbers, get the stats, all right, here's what the issue is, here's how we can solve it. Then we kind of, talk about, all right, what partners are doing the best work in the industry to meet that need. And then we reach out to them, we talk through what a collaboration might look like, and then we put a dollar amount to it. We figure out, all right, what's it going to take, at least to get things started, to try to start addressing some of the issues or the gaps that we might see during our research.
Okay, what metrics do you use to measure the success of industry and academic partnerships, and how do you ensure that the goals of each partner are meeting?
That is a phenomenal question. I'm gonna keep saying that because they're all great questions, right? And so we have a couple ways that we do that, right? So when we issue or I would say award a grant to a nonprofit organization like an HBI, we have what's called reporting, right? Like you guys might, study a topic in class and you have to do a project. You might have to report out on it to show that you acquired that knowledge or gained that knowledge, or that you got mastery or expertise in that area, right? And so for us, it's somewhat similar, right? When we award funds to a nonprofit organization like an HBI, we come back and we say, hey, we need a couple of reports from you all. So it might be what we call an interim report. So midway through their grant cycle, when they're spending the dollars for programs like you guys are in, we say, give us one report. Tell us how you're doing. How many students did you have? What did they learn? How many students finished the entire program? All those kinds of things. And then we also ask for what's called a final report as well, right? So we get to the end of that award or that grant that we give to the nonprofit. We say, all right, now tell us how it all wrapped up. Was it successful based on the metrics that we laid out for the program? What lessons did we learn? What did we do well? What did we not do so well? Mr. Jarrett may know this as a teacher. What are your glows and your grows, right? So the things that we can continue to increase and do better, but what are some things that we did really well also? And we want to celebrate those and highlight those. So we kind of transfer that into the whole nonprofit grant making space.
Okay. And what is your experience with developing and implementing training programs, and how do you ensure that the training provided is relevant and up to date with industry standards?
Ooh, come on, y'all give it up for that question once. Absolutely, I love it. So again, it goes back to research. Research is hugely important. And when I used to work in the college admissions and college counseling space, I would always tell my students this. Whatever schools you're looking at going to, whether it's a new high school, maybe it's a magnet high school or a special high school, or a college, you want to do your homework, you want to do your research, right? So you know what you're interested in, right? But what does that school or that program offer that can benefit you, right? It's a two-way street. It's a mutual relationship, and that's beneficial. So in this case, I would say the same thing applies, right? When you're doing your research, we want to make sure we find organizations that are the best at what they do, right? And they want to make sure that Home Depot is a good fit for them, right? In terms of our priorities and what we stand for and what we represent, and the things that we want to focus on as a company. So when we kind of find that balance, find that marriage, then we sit down and say, let's talk about an agreement. Let's talk about a partnership. How long is it going to last? How long will it take to make an impact in the area that we want to impact? Thinking of students like yourselves around the country, where in different neighborhoods around the country could students benefit from programs like these? Where do students want this as well, right? Because we could say stuff all day long. We could say, oh, we should do this over here. We should do this over there. But if that family or that student or that community or that school doesn't need it or doesn't want that, then it really doesn't do any good. It's not mutually beneficial, right? And so again, we do the research. We talk to teachers like Mr. Jarrett. We talk to superintendents. We talk to school districts. We talk to community-based organizations, and we say, what would you like to do? What do you have a need for? What do you want to learn? What are your students interested in? And that's how we kind of bridge the gap and blend those things together.
Okay, so how do you stay current with trends and developments in the construction industry, and how do you ensure that the home builders insulate in providing relevant and innovative training programs?
Staying up to date and staying relevant. Wow. So again, great partners like HBI. We have home builders associations all across the country that we stay connected with as well. And certainly as a company, the Home Depot has what we call pros. Those are the individuals and the small businesses and companies that do business with us, right? So they're coming to our stores day in, day out. They're buying materials. They're talking to us about what the needs are out in the community as they're building homes and building commercial developments. And so as we pay attention to those numbers, those stats, those figures, both from the pros who are the consumers, those are people that are buying things from us, as well as individuals, right? It could be your parents or your family members who are buying to fix up things around home, kind of do it yourself, right? We look at those things and we pay attention to those things. And so between our customers or our consumers, and then also from the industry professionals who do the research, that do the work, we blend those things together and we think through, all right, from the two stats or set of stats we have, this is how we should kind of guide ourselves and develop our programming based on what we're seeing happening in the industry.
Okay, can you describe a time when you had to navigate a challenging partnership or collaboration, and how did you handle the situation to achieve a positive outcome?
Wow, challenging. Let's see how we navigated it. That's a really good question. Let's see. So I would say, let's think about this. So, last year, I'll give you a good example. So with our partner who's here with us, HBI, we have a great program that we're actually going to see later today. It's for skilled trades, just like you all are doing here with the 100 Black Men of America. And a part of the reason for that partnership is not only do we want to help fill the empty jobs, right, or the gap in jobs in the skilled trades industry, but we also want to diversify the trades as well, right? So we want to make sure that individuals from underrepresented backgrounds, meaning if that's more females or women in the industry, meaning if that's more individuals of color in the industry, we want to make sure that we're doing that as well, right? And so with that, we developed this partnership with HBI that started last year, and that was our pilot year, our first year. We were testing out, trying it out. And so as we thought through that, we said, what are some lessons that we can learn? So we learned things like some students might need transportation to get to a program that we're providing, right? Especially if it's not happening at their school. And so it's like, all right, we got to think about that. So does that mean we need to provide more funding so that the program can have transportation to take students back and forth? It could be something as simple as snacks. If students are going to be in this program after school, they might be, missing a window of time before they get home for dinner, and they still got to do homework when they get home. So wouldn't it be great to provide snacks while you're in here learning about the trades, right? So those are kind of some lessons that we learned through the process, and we're able to adjust our program and the amount of funding that we do for that program based off of those lessons that we learned and the feedback from students like yourselves and those who are running the program like Mr. Jared.
Okay, how do you prioritize and manage competing demands and requests from multiple agencies and academic partners while ensuring that the home builders and student missions and goals are meet?
Ooh, I like that one. Managing priorities. Wow. All right, so I would say we do, what we call, y'all say this when we say division. All together, audience, division of labor. What does that mean? Basically, we share the work, right? So as a team, we share the work. So my teammate Courtney is here, who's from our communications and marketing team. So just like y'all are doing this podcast now, anybody ever made like a poster for something that you were running for a project? Anybody made a poster or a social media post or anything like that? Artwork, anything? Okay, all right. Anybody watch the news? Anybody ever seen news story? All right. Let's see what's. Anybody watch YouTube? There we go. All right. TikTok videos. All right. So all of that stuff is a form of what we call marketing and communications, right? So it's how we get our story out, how we talk about the great things that y'all are doing, the great things that we're doing, the great things our partners are doing. So we share the work, right? So Courtney from our team, she along with a few other team members manage our marketing and communications, right? On my team, we have 3 or 4 people that actually manage all of our partnerships and our grants. So I happen to manage the skilled trades and workforce development on behalf of our foundation. We have somebody else who manages our partnerships around veterans and those who served our country. We have somebody else who manages our disaster response. So anytime a natural disaster happens anywhere across the country, one of my team members gets to kind of manage and coordinate the Home Depot Foundation's response to those efforts and how we can support them or send supplies or send dollars to help organizations like a Red Cross or a Convoy of Hope. So division of labor, we share the work amongst the team, and that's how we're able to be effective and efficient with making sure we meet the needs of the community all around the country.
Okay, how do you ensure that partnerships are mutually beneficial and that both industries, academics, funders are getting value out of the relationship?
Yes, absolutely. Constant communication and constant feedback, right? So again, you want to, we do the research in advance, but you still, as you're going through your partnership and your program and it's being put into place in schools and communities, you want to make sure that it's doing what we said it was going to do, right? So we talk, just like we're doing today, a site visit. We come out and we talk to students like y'all, we talk to teachers like Mr. Jared, and we say, hey, is this working? Is it good? Are you enjoying it? What can we do better? What are we doing great that we can continue? So constant communication, constant feedback, that's how we do some of our measuring in addition to those metrics we talked about earlier, and that's how we make sure that programs stay afloat, stay successful, and stay in the places where we think there's a need and where you said you want it to be.
Okay, what is your experience with fundraising and grant writing, and how have you secured funding for industry and academic partnerships individual in the past?
Yeah, excellent question. Y'all getting into my history now just a little bit. And so, working for the foundation, We write grant agreements and we issue those out to nonprofit partners and community-based organizations. For me personally, I've worked for over 20 years in the nonprofit, in the education space, and the ministry space. And so for me, I've had experience with grant writing. I've done that for a number of years. I've reviewed lots of grants from a local level all the way to the federal government level as well. So all of that experience kind of rolls up into this role that I have now, where I'm able to not only write grants to issue out to organizations, but I'm able to help those organizations with what we call technical assistance, right? Helping them think through like what their needs are and how to express that back to us so that we can develop that mutually beneficial partnership.
Okay. And how do you see the role of industry's academic partnerships in the construction industry, and how do you plan to be positioned the Home Builders Institute to stay ahead of these trends
Yes.
and development?
All right, I love this. I was attending a conference recently, and I'll share this just because I think it answers your question, pretty well. Whenever there is a need in the community, I'll give you an example. Out in California, there was a conference I was attending. They were talking about a few years ago. They noticed issues with forestry and deforestation, right? And so they said, all right, we've got to do something about this. And so there weren't enough workers to address the issue of wildfires and things that were destroying trees and forestry. And so he said, well, in order to get more workers, we've got to train more people. All right, well, who does the training in the community? Local community colleges and local nonprofits, right, who have the curriculum and the people who can do the training. So the local workforce development agency said, we're going to partner not only with the nonprofit, we're going to partner with the community college, we're going to partner with a local corporation who can, bridge us together, provide the funding, provide the training, to train the people, to get the people out to attend to the cause again, which in this case was like the wildfires destroying the trees. So to your point, I think there's a huge role for everybody to play. Certainly partners like HBI have done this for a long time. And so, whenever they identify a need or we can identify a need, it's up to us to bring the right people to the table to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done to provide jobs for individuals who want jobs, to provide training for folks who want training, and to address any needs in the community that need to be addressed.
Okay, so that's it for the Dope Student Podcast. I'll see you guys in another episode. Bye!
Clap.